After getting back from my Grand Canyon trip, I have some time in Sedona, so I'm gonna fit in a little day hike here before I have to go back to the airport. I've chosen to give the Bear Mountain hike a try. Sedona's famous for a reason. It's so beautiful. I'm barely 5 minutes into the trail and already have this amazing view of the mountain. A little bit of a rock scramble here. Definitely a bit tired from my Grand Canyon hike, but I think I'm making decent progress. It's been about 20 minutes and I made it past the first cliff. Now I think I'm looking at what is the summit. I'll have to climb that next. I was doing very well, and then all of a sudden I felt a little twinge in my right knee, so I'm just taking a break here. I think I still need to do more strengthening on this knee because clearly it's still weak. I'm not sure if it's just naturally weaker or if it's from that injury that I had a couple years ago. This could be a limitation on me for hiking. Sometimes when I'm hiking, I get too excited and I start moving fast and not necessarily paying attention to how I'm moving. When I was younger, especially when I was like going down mountains, I would like jump down the rocks. I can't do that anymore. It's feeling a little better after resting and stretching a little, but I'm still gonna try not to get too excited and take it easy. It's really frustrating to go more slowly than I want to, but I guess you're only as fast as the weakest part of you. All right, I've reached the top. Trail looks like it keeps going, so I'm not sure if it goes along this ridge here. I'm gonna check it out. It took me just under an hour. Okay, actually, I think I might be wrong. I think maybe that's the summit. I'm not totally sure. Seems like that is the actual summit. I got a little too excited when I got to the top of the ridge. Little bit to get to the top. Okay, now I actually made it. They have this nice little thing that says the end, so you're certain. It took me about 2 hours and 10 minutes to get to the top, including sitting down for a food break. I started to get hungry about 2 hours in, and if I don't eat, I'll not do very well. And then I kept going. It was just a little more to the top. This is a really cool hike. I loved the rock scrambling. Amazing views. The lighting isn't great right now because it's almost noon, but it's just gorgeous landscape, and you have great views the whole way up. So even if you don't do the whole hike, it's certainly worth going in a little ways. Off in the distance are some gorgeous mountains. I had earlier thought that I would eat lunch up here, but it is very windy and cold, so I'm gonna head back down. Maybe I'll eat more when I get to a sheltered spot. One of my favorite novels is called The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie by the Scottish author Muriel Spark. Muriel Spark wrote a bunch of short, witty novels. Prime of Miss Jean Brodie is my favorite. It's about this teacher in Edinburgh in the 1930s who has a group of favorite students, and she is like this really eccentric, quirky teacher, and it's about her influence on their lives for good and for bad. I really love it because I think especially when you're growing up, but also at other times of life, people have influences on you in ways that are sort of unpredictable, particularly when you're young. Teachers do have a big influence on you, and it is both positive and negative. I know that I, and probably other people, remember very vividly negative experiences with adults who have power over you, as well as positive ones. So the book is about that, and it's, you know, it's sort of this hard thing to capture and to write about, but she does a really amazing job. It's a wonderful book. It's called The Prime of Miss Jean Brody because the teacher talks a lot about how she's in her prime, and she's always saying to the girls, like, oh, little girls, it's very important to know when you're in your prime. I think about it a lot because I feel like I'm not in my prime yet, but I feel like the experiences that I've had the last few years, trying a lot of new things. Started rock climbing indoors in a gym. Haven't done much outdoor climbing yet, but it's been really interesting. And backpacking is also, I'm new to it. I just started doing it in the last 2 years after I turned age 30. I'm reading a lot of different things and listening to new music. I went to a protest for the first time last year. I'd never done that before. And I just feel like all these things are kind of percolating inside me and will maybe come together in some way that I can't quite foresee yet. I'm not in my prime like Jean Brody yet, but I feel like my prime is yet to come. So I just talked to a little while ago 2 other hikers. They were 2 gentlemen in their 70s who are very active. They were telling me about their hiking group that they have with friends their age. Apparently they have one friend who's in his 80s, and just a few years ago he did a rim to rim to rim run in the Grand Canyon in 20 hours. That's unbelievable. I mean, for a young person to do that would be impressive. And the same guy, his goal is to hike 2,023 miles this year because it's 2023. That's really awesome. And actually, when I was in the Grand Canyon, some of the fastest hikers were older people, 60s, 70s. There was one guy who, tore down the South Kaibab Trail. A while later, I saw him coming up, and he was going so fast, it was, unbelievable. He had very little things with him, he had a water bottle and a stick. I think he went down to the river and came back up. Very impressive. I really enjoy seeing what people can do. This is a nice hobby to have because you can do it for a long time. You can start it when you're older and keep doing it, into your older years. Even though it's easy to feel competitive with people and to feel like, oh, I'm not as good as somebody else or not going as fast as whoever, it's also just an intrinsically enjoyable activity. So it's ultimately it doesn't matter how fast or how far you go. It's just about getting outside and enjoying yourself and being in the beauty of nature, and it just does wonders for your well-being. And I hope that I can stay as active as those people are into those decades of my life. Okay, I'm now back at those red cliffs of the initial ascent into this hike. This was where the rock scrambles were, so I'm just gonna have to be careful not to jolt my knee. That was Bear Mountain. It was a nice fun hike. Good hike for if you have half a day available.